What's good? What's good, fam? Queen Common Sense coming back to you from the Chi-Town remix to the Kakalaka Sticks. It is your personal empath here, channeling the bitterness of older women. Sometimes that could be our mother, our aunt, cousins, older siblings. My focus here is on the bitterness of older women. Okay. And here it is. We are back with part two of this beautiful Moon Cosmetics owner who has had to go no contact with her family, toxic family, because she started a business. She's an entrepreneur, very young, vibrant, brilliant, beautiful young lady. She is in her mid 20s now. But she started her business when she was in high school and it exploded into a multi-million dollar stream of income for her. And in my opinion, I think that is brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. But sad to say, like many of us who have started something and, it grew and blossomed. Once you begin to elevate, change, and evolve in many different ways, money, the worship and love of money, greed is the root of all evil. So we're going to jump back in here with part two on this story of this young lady, Moon, who is the owner of Moon Cosmetics. And it is a lot of parallels to our lovely Dr. Melody Cherie and some of the things that she has gone through with people who she thought truly loved her, cherished her, and were rooting for her and wanted to grow with her. And sometimes the hardest thing is to let people go because of that soul tie, that cord that's still there. And it's really difficult because it's like, wow, it's hard to accept sometimes. But the faster we are able to get to the point of cutting that cord to release those dead weights that do not belong to us, that baggage that we carry of others because we think love is unconditional. But love does have conditions. And we're going to get into that later. So we're going to jump right back up in here with part two. And first, I want to show you one of the elders in my life who scarred me into really trusting, not trusting women, older women. Gave me a jade, jaded me when it came to confiding in certain bitter older women. Now I'm gonna show you her picture. This is an older cousin of mine on my dad's side, and she's one of the women who exposed me to colorism. Okay, and this was very disturbing because I had a pure heart back then as a young girl, teenager. I had just had my first baby, and I hadn't seen this woman in over 20 something years. Okay. Now, the information about me that she received was solely from my parents, mainly my mom, my toxic mother. And at this stage, at 18, 19, I was starting to wake up to the gaslighting of my mother, who was the first bitter woman that I came in contact with, of course. Right. So then I was shipped off to Southern A&M University in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, because my dad wanted me to go to college. I wanted to go to college too, but I didn't want to go to Southern. I wanted to go to FAMU because my big sister went to FAMU. My big sister was the second bitter, jaded, older woman in my life that taught me how vicious family can be and how dangerous jealousy is. Okay, so peep this. This is my older cousin on my dad's side. And we are like, I want to say fifth or sixth cousins, something like that, way down the line. Um, this was, she's a former first lady of a church. And as we can see, she has the European-esque features, but she is indeed a melanated woman. Um, and she is a Bible thumper. And she used to always comment on my figure, always comment on my looks, my hair, how I did my makeup, how I bonded with my daughter. All of this was projection onto me based on what she either fumbled with her own journey through womanhood as a young woman, or where she felt she could live vicariously through me to try to correct some of the things that were not right with her, like a second chance. So that is my cousin. And she said and did some very vile things to me when I was in college. And it took me to a very dark, low place as a young lady. I don't think a lot of older women realize exactly what they're doing when they go on these rants, and it is fully based on assumption or hearsay. And they verbally and emotionally attack younger women with nice nastiness, you know. And I just it doesn't ever sit well with me when I hear it happening to other young women. And that is another reason why I keep a very thick barrier between myself and women in general, because I can feel and sense darkness looming simply based on how a woman looks at me. Okay. And sometimes it's kind of scary. So that said, okay, we're going to go head on with this one in part two. This young lady is describing how her beautiful business um, destroyed her family bond, you know, and how uh, she's healing from that, how how it affected her in so many ways. And being so young and not having anywhere to turn to really vent to, not having a soft place to fall, especially, with your mother. That's the first person we reach for, right? Is mom. Mom, I need help, need your guidance. I'm hurting. My heart is broke. Sometimes you need emotional support. And when it's non-existent, that's a rough place to be. So let's jump into it here. Part two with Moon Cosmetics owner, beautiful young lady. Let's go.
Okay, we're part two on how my business destroyed my entire family. And I have to keep doing that because it's really like, it's not like, okay. So anyway, moving forward, after the big up restock, everybody was working full time, overtime. And of course, I just made $1 million. So of course, everybody's like, so the first person that I end up icing out was my mom. And I quote that very, very loosely because we've never been close growing up. I was raised by my great grandma and my grandma. And my mom was never a motherly figure to me. It was always my two grandmas that was a mother figure. So the mom loosely is me, meaning I was in her belly, she pushed me out, and that's like mom. So anyway, my mom ended up taking me to a car lot. She was crying and begging for this car. This her dream car. It was an Audi. I can't remember if it was a Q6 or a Q8. I really can't remember. So if it wasn't a Q8, it's a Q6. So this is a car that she wanted. We end up going to the lot. like a few days after the restock on my lunch break and on her lunch break, we took lunch together and we ended up driving to a lot in Atlanta and they had the car there. It was a beautiful car. We test drove it. Speakers was nice. Everything was nice. So I ended up putting out a deposit on the car, which by the way, I never got the deposit back. But I always think no matter what, business is business and I need to make sure my business is handled because now I have over 20 plus employees working underneath me that I need to make sure is going to be paid before I make a major $100,000 purchase on something that's not bringing me any money in. So we end up doing that. A few days later passed. My mom comes into work. You know, she's been coming in. We've been talking. We've been chatting or whatever. She let me know that the guy at the car lot called her and asked her what was going to be the update on the car because because they had another interested buyer. Now, I've brought plenty of cars in my lifetime. I brought a lot of other people cars in my lifetime. And I know realistically that was more a tactical on, hey, we want to sell, what y'all finna do? Or whatever. Now, my mom, who doesn't know about a lot of cars, didn't know that. So she's just now like in panic mode. I don't want to lose my car. You probably should have going to buy this for me. I promised the car by the end of the year. Her birthday's January 1st. So it's like I could have brought the car for you for Thanksgiving, that, you know, Christmas, Halloween, it doesn't matter. But I said I was going to get it. I stick to my word, and that's completely fine. So moving forward, we end up getting into it over the car. My mom decides that she decides if she wants to, you know, go off on me about the car and ignore me. So now this obviously drove a wedge in our business relationship because you're now working underneath me and you do a lot of our, you know, internal work. So yeah. So after that, things really, really go south with me and my mom. So after that, we end up getting into a really big argument. She then proceeds to call my grandmother. My grandmother then calls me and is like, what is going on? Your mom's called me. Like, y'all are into it again. What's going on? I'm like, what are you talking about? Me not even thinking that it's going to even go further than what it did because it's a car. Like, it's not that serious. And it's a car that you never had that you're expecting me to spend my money on, which I don't mind doing that. But it's like, let me handle my business first and buy.
And that's something not familiar. Just like the girls' trip with Melody Cherie. You didn't pay for it. You didn't work for the money that paid for it. You say you're my friend, but then you show up, you want to stir up all this drama and bring, you know, little triggers to see if I'll step outside of my character and slip up and expose myself or embarrass myself, complaining about a trip that you did not pay for, and then have the nerve to act out said dysfunction on national TV, not even in a graceful, classy, eloquent way. You act like a bunch of ghetto hood booger bird face itches on a trip that I paid for. I'm the host of, as if that you have enough clout to try to pull rank. You're gonna make me spend my money that I haven't even really earned yet. It hasn't even cleared yet. It's not hasn't even been confirmed. All of a sudden you want to go shopping, Stormy, right? Soon as I rake in that million, I'm spend, 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 spend. Got all kind of liens and lawsuits and bankruptcies and everything, but she, Stormy, is somehow above everybody else, and people ain't got enough to come for her. Well, look like, baby, people coming for you, Stormy, and you ain't got enough to back them mofos up. Let's go.
By then, if you know, my McDonald's wasn't even in my account yet. My McDonald's was on hold for review because that was the most money my brand has ever brought in at the same time. Not in general, but literally all at once. So, of course, they held it to make sure this was a legit and they released it later. But it was like, you're begging me to spend money that I don't even know if I'm going to even have yet. You know? So, part 3. Okay, we're part 2 on how my business destroyed my entire family.
Isn't this amazing how parallel these stories are with these young women? Stormy Steel, Melody Cherie, Miss Moon Cosmetics, 7th Avenue, Canvas Beauty, Moon Cosmetics. Brilliant, brilliant ideas that came and manifested into something beautiful, something that was helpful, and look at the individual path that these took. We have two young women, Melody and this young lady, Marie, who want to do right by their clients, who want to help people, who want to heal those things about the skin, the things, learn more about beauty, being healthy, and doing it in a fashion that is helpful. It's a learning experience for everybody, right? But instead, we have these toxic, bitter, older women. A lot of them are our mother, Stormy Steel, Messy Petty Betty, Bullfrog Face Betty, who stirred a pot in the wrong direction. They add these very vile ingredients to something that could be amazing if you just step back, like our Queen Miss Van, and encourage and enlighten and pour life and light into our daughters to serve the greater good of our community and really walk in that Black excellence. I don't know. It could be just me. I don't think I'm crazy though on this one because this young woman has been through the fire, okay, with her people. And it is really disheartening and disturbing when we have bitter elder women who would rather sabotage our daughter, our niece, our baby cousin, our little sister, instead of taking a step back to see the bigger picture and say, you know what? Instead of an Audi begging my daughter, maybe I should continue to help drive her to work harder. Since I'm already working for her or with her, right? Let me continue to fan the wind beneath her wings so she can soar and fly higher, right? That's what you would think of a first lady, right? A first lady of a church who's supposed to be spiritual, who's supposed to be, a wise, who's supposed to have the fruit of the tree of knowledge, in her spirit. This woman here, and God forgive me, but the truth will make us free, right? This was the biggest thought that I have ever met at that age. This was the definition of a thought. My first thought that I ever met was this woman, the first lady of a church. When I first moved to Baton Rouge, she was going through a very ugly divorce. And it was alleged that her estranged husband, the pastor of that church, was cheating on her. Lo and behold, I found out it was both, right? Both. They both were cheating on each other. He just got caught. She didn't. Okay. It escalated into a custody thing, the whole thing, very much like what Melody Cherie is going through and has been through. And because I had my daughter at 18, wasn't married, oh boy, it was open season on me. And when I say harass, you think Demon Face is harassing Melody and has harassed her? This woman, because we lived under the same roof, she had moved out of her marital home back into her mother's house. I was placed with her mother to live there to go to college because the college was only 5 minutes away from her mother's house, this woman's mother's house. Now, growing up as a little girl, they were very sweet to me. In a sense, as a child, you don't see a lot. You just, just do what your mom tells you, and hey, these are your people. Hi, go play. That's how I was raised. Children seen, not heard. So I admired her because I used to see her in a nice car a lot. And I used to hear her talk about her job and how the things that and I'm like, you know what? That's a career woman. I want to be a career woman. I want to carve my own path in this society and really show up as Black excellence like the women in my family. But as we started to become a woman, like I said, I discovered that she was a thought. And she harassed me daily about how I was bonding with my daughter, to don't hold her too much because she's going to be spoiled. You know, um, how I wore my hair, how I dressed, my style of dress, the type of music that I listened to. She was always in my closet in because I was a fashion student and I was a dancer and a singer. I was one of those uh what do you call triple threat type of, supernova prodigies, and it was rare in our family tree that you come across somebody who not could intelligent, but was good at anything that they touched. And thank God my children got that gift too. I got it from my grandmother. I could sing, dance, create things like clothing, hats, shoes. I would design shoes, and I was just a real creative 80s baby. I'm Gen X, one of the first ones that they said we wasn't going to mount to ship, right? But I was on my way to see my name in lights. And before there was a Beyonce and Blue Ivy, me and my baby girl was twinning, just like Blue Ivy and we were supposed to be the first Blue Ivy and Beyonce duo like that. That's where I was headed with it. So my main focus at the time was modeling and ballet and different forms of classical professional dancing, tap, jazz, hip hop, all that. I was into cheer, the flag girl, pom poms, you name it, anything that had to do with music, singing, and dancing, I was up in the mix, baby. And I created my own style, right? So I didn't blend in with a lot of the mainstream people in my age group. I was very different, very, very hippie-ish. I was more of a 70s-ish type feel, but in the 80s with the neon colors and all that stuff too, and the spiked hair and the big bushy afro, wasn't flat iron and everything. I was RBG all day, every day. Okay. So this woman got a load of me and my baby, and it was atrocious in her opinion. She wanted me to be old fashioned like her. And it just didn't fit well, didn't work with my style. I didn't move like that. And times change. Think people evolve. Technology changes. People's ideals change. Standards change. Values change over the years. So she was stuck in the missionary Baptist mindset. And I was more of the non denominational mindset, right? And a lot of these type of older women, they assume, right? They assume that you don't know nothing because you do not think like them. And because I was an attractive person, of course, models have to be beautiful, right? I must say, I'm not hard on the eyes, but I didn't really let it go to my head because I was serious about my craft and I wanted to be successful, stay humble and grounded so that I could, excel. And she was always talking about, my figure. She was always talking about how I needed to be modest, which I was. I was modest, but at the same time, I was a little daring too. Not provocative, but daring. You might inch that skirt hem up mid thigh versus to the knee. You know, I was conservative, but a little daring. So she was always, harping on things like that, in the morning when I would get up to get us ready for school. Now, when I say school, I went to college. I went to a HBCU and I took my daughter with me. And yes, she went to class with me a lot, often. Okay. So much so that I'd be taking a filing exam, and one of the professors who I grew close to would hold and console my baby if she was crying or uncomfortable or whatever while I took a test. So that's how much clout I had upon Southern University A&M College in Baton Rouge. Yes, ma'am and sir. So that did not sit well with this woman either. She felt like she had to always rearrange, delegate, and oversee my every move. And the narrative that was painted about me by my mother was total opposite to how I showed up, right? But women like this, elder women who are bitter and blinded by their own demons, they don't see the real you. They see what they've been told, they cling to that, and it is consolation to how they dropped the ball and, you know, really truly um, missed the mark because divorce is hard, and it takes your self esteem down. So when you see a single, vibrant young woman who also has a child and who is doing things in life, moving and shaking, and gets a lot of attention naturally, and when I talk about natural attention, I'm telling you, that's something that back in my hometown in Chicago, I could step out the house to go to the dollar store, and it's like damn paparazzi. I got people honking horns. Hey, I see that, and it's a little creepy sometimes, right? So that is how it was when I got down to Louisiana. People like a magnet. Because I was always into something. I was always trying to, create a flash mob dance. I was always, running around trying to find a next casting call where I can show off my talents, right? So I can get in where I fit in. And that bothers other people demons, especially elder women in our familial circle. And this is what I pick up with this young lady. Mom had a lot of demons, unresolved traumas, and a lot of anger and resentment for the fact that her daughter exploded in this industry and was making heaps and bounds of money at such a young age. And this was mom's way to get in where she fit in, to say, hey, now I can get what I want that I didn't get a chance to get, that where I felt entitled to, that nobody gave me. I never worked for it, didn't apply myself. So now my daughter's doing it. So now I can take it and obtain that through her, if that makes sense. So I don't know, just my opinion. Y'all tell me what you think. Have a peekaboo at this again. Part two, how her family ruined how her business destroyed her family. And I wouldn't even say it destroyed her family. I would say that uh, it unveiled the truth about how some of her family members really truly see her and receive her, and how they truly feel about her, which is really sad, really disturbing. And, it's a teachable moment for us to truly pay attention to what ails us spiritually, because spiritual disease transfers into physical illnesses. Okay. So, y'all drop down in the comment section down there. Drop a couple of eagle feathers for me and let me know what you think. And I'm a bounce for right now. We'll be back on the rebound with part three. This is Queen Common Sense coming back to you with bitter elders. Heal the nation. We're going to address these here bitter older women who want to try to throw a monkey wrench in the elevation and evolution of our beautiful queens. This is a beautiful young lady. Beautiful. Huh? And we don't want her to grow up with regrets, sadness, despair, living vicariously through her legacies and grand legacies because she wasted her youth being a thought box. Okay, so let's I'm gonna hit you back in a few. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. If you haven't already, please hit that like and subscribe button. Share, share, share. I got a new channel, y'all. Okay. I done built me up another one. All right. It is Queen Common Sense Surviving Narcissistic ABUSE. Okay. So head on over there to my new channel. Subscribe, check out the little content that I'm throwing up there. I'm working on it. I know it's a little bit dry over there right now, but we're going to beef it up. We're going to bring some stuff, some hot burning topics, those questions that, we don't want to say the quiet part out loud. That's what we're going to be doing over there. I'm also going to be providing some spiritual readings very soon. I do the tarot, I do the runes. I'm of the healing occult community, and I've been studying herbology for about 11, 12 years now. Healing things for every disease on this earth. There's a herb that cures it type of chick. Okay, so I'm on that too. I'm on health and wellness, upliftment, evolution, um, ascension, unpacking, cutting cords, cutting ties to anything toxic. I don't like toxic. I don't like drama. I don't like hateration. All right, so that is one of my bitter elders. Okay, and I have since cut her off. She is afraid of me because I'll get to that later. But she doesn't want to talk to me. She doesn't like me. Okay, when you call out the devil, that's what happens. They react in a very volatile, disgusting, and disturbing way, right? They scream and squeal like a victim because people who are set in their way don't like to be called out. Because when you call somebody out, then that requires them to address it. And a lot of times they won't address it. They'll block you or ignore you and act like you're not there and pretend that nothing ever happened because they don't want to change. They really don't. So I will see y'all on the flip. I love you. Okay. Drink your water. Take care of yourself. Protect your peace. No means no. Okay. No means no. It's okay to say goodbye to people that are constantly passively aggressively breaking your heart, demanding things from you that you're not willing to give, that is unnatural and or harmful to you. I mean, if she had bought her mom this car, imagine what a big hiccup that would have caused for her in her business and her finances with, taking care of her obligations like Stormy Steel. Okay, let's go. I'm gonna be out. I'm bouncing right now. I'm be good, I promise. I do have a petty button. So y'all pray for me, okay? I'm out. One love.